This is chapter number 6, Major Landforms of the Earth. Major landforms. Sthal Mandal means the land masses and what are their forms we are going to discuss. The first thing is, wherever you are standing, first of all, you can be on a plain surface, you can be on a desert, you can be, say, on water, on a ship or a boat. Maybe you are on a plain surface or you are on a mountain surface. The thing is, the surface, how do we group them? So when we make the earth, we see that everything is flat. Means the surface is not like this, what you see here. The surface is not what we see. The surface everywhere is different. That is the landforms. The forms in which the land is found are of different varieties. Somewhere you will find the straight, and sometime you will find steep, and in between you will find various differences. So what is a hill? A hill. So this hill is that surface of land, because there are difference of cliff, hill and the mountain. So there is a difference between these words. Hill is that part of the land or that land surface that is higher than the surrounding areas. So if you take a surface like this is a hill because the other surfaces nearby it is risen upward, it is higher than them. And what about steep hill? Steep means sharp hill. And if I make this hill like this, the first hill is not steep, this hill is a slant, relief. The angle of elevation is quite high, and this relief is high, elevation is high, that is why. And what about the height? Sometimes we use this word elevation and height similarly, but I'll tell you the difference. So if the distance from the mean sea level is around 600, so we call it as a mountain. So a hill will become mountain when the height is more than 600 meters. 600 meters. There are certain mountains which are higher than 8,000 meters. So the highest one we know is Mount Everest. Mount Everest. And this is 8848. Around this 8848 meter, that is around 8.9 kilometer from mean sea level. This is how this mountain high is. It's above than the clouds also. So this is the difference between a hill and a mountain. And the angle, if we have, say, angle difference, and if you say we have number of mountains, if we have number of mountains for kilometers, we call them as mountain range. Mountain range. There's one more interesting thing here, that when you are standing somewhere and you see that everything is static, but it's not like that. Everything is moving. It's moving infinitesimal speed, but everything is moving because we have continents, we have these different oceans, and since we are in water, these big masses are in water. So slowly and gradually things are moving. Everything is moving slowly. And why this movement is taking place? What are the reasons for that? Because the earth by itself, it has core in the center, then you have mantle, upper mantle, then you have crust. So there are things changing. All the forms, whether it be land form, water form, they are changing. So internal processes are taking place. These internal processes, it may lead to certain result. it may lead to upliftment of the part of the surface, or it may lead to the sinking of the earth's surface at certain places. Somewhere it will be like this, it is sinking. Sometimes, these are mainly the places where you find lakes, etc. These are places of sinking, and sometimes you find water also flowing, stream of water also flowing like this. Now let me tell you all the forms which we have. This is the mountain. Now when we have number of mountains which is higher than 600 meter, only if we have big one mountain and small mountains, they are not called mountain ranges. All the mountains which are in the mountain range, they have to be almost equal height. That is how we call them as mountain range. And just below that mountain range, we have the area called basin. And then where a small elevated portion is hill. And the place which is higher than the, it's plain, but it is higher than the lower surfaces. It's plateaus. Because this mountain range have glaciers, water comes from there by melting, and this river comes out of this. Ganga, Yamuna, all has come from them. So there is a main river, and there are other rivers also which combines them in some path, that is called tributary. These are called tributary. It adds water to the main stream river. So this is tributary, and those rivers which takes water away from this river is distributary. So when this river comes from a long distance, it carries salt, the silt, the stone, everything. And finally, because the speed is lower here, it deposits here. And at the mouth of river, you always find a delta. And sometimes you will also find the distributary of this river. And this is a coast. If this is a sea, this is a coast. That is where the water meets the land. And there is a small part which joins the land. That is called isthmus, sandhi, jal sandhi. And 3 parts covered, or a land which is having 3-part water is peninsula. And there is an island which is very near to the land, and that is called straight island. That is called a straight island. Then if there is a sink and water deposits there, and this is called as lake. That is called as lake. So these are all the formations which we see. So as I was telling, there are internal processes also, and there are external processes also. What are the external processes? These external processes have 2 things. The land or the earth surface, it is wear down or eroded, or deposition takes place. This is a place. Now the water is coming, the air is coming, wind is blowing. The upper portion, this air and water will take it. Also the glaciers. So this will take it, the upper surface. If you cut the trees, because trees bind the root, the right root bind the land. So if you cut them, the different ways, the soil will be eroded. That is, the soil will leave from here because of the wind energy and the water energy. And this is what is called erosion. It can be man-made, it can be natural also. This is called erosion. But if there is a place which is just near to this place, because the water and air has taken this soil and the upper part, and it has to deposit it somewhere, because the energy of wind will lose its energy, it will deposit all this sand or soil it has taken, and that is called deposition. That is called, so one thing is taking off of the upper portion of the land, which is erosion, and deposition of the upper land, on the upper land, which is deposition. So what are the main reason? As I just indicated you, the first is wind and the air. So let me combine these two, wind and air. Actually the flowing air is wind. Then we have water. Second important thing is water. If the water is coming from a steep height, wherever this flood comes, and if the hills are quite steep, so the water will take away all the upper surface of the soil. This is water. So wind is there, water is there, these are the agents. And the third thing is ice. Now ice, what are the glaciers? The glaciers are freezed rivers. glaciers are rivers only, but they are frozen because of extreme cold at that point. So this also takes away these. This also helps in deposition erosion. Now we can divide these landforms mainly depending upon the elevation and slope. So what is the slope and the elevation? Elevation is the height we use here. But there is one more. If you go to trigonometry, the elevation is what? So this is the peak point. Say it is mean sea level. The height is this height of this peak and this peak. The elevation is this angle. The elevation is this theta. Tan theta is the elevation. So this is the angle which we are talking about, which is the elevation. And slope is the angle of elevation or the relief. Relief is also the inclination. So there are various things happening: height, steepness, angle, all these combined. So we can divide these landforms into three forms: mountains, plateaus, and plains. Mountains, pahar. So how does the mountain has come? So there is a girl, if you see here, she has just taken some paper or sheets or any other thing which can be pressed. Now she placed her hand and pressed those hands inside, and this has folded, and this is only the mountain. The natural elevation of the soil, of the land, of the earth crust is called the mountain, and the base is quite higher and the peak can be smaller. So it is quite widely you can distinguish it from the nearby areas. And whenever you go up, it's cold. Whenever you go up the atmosphere, the temperature decreases. So I'll tell you how exactly it happens. There are two plates inside earth. When it combines, so the in between portion, it goes up. But if there is one portion and it cuts into two pieces, one goes on the left hand side, one goes on the other side, this portion will be sink. So you'll get a sink here. So the mountain and the sink, or I'll tell you, there are mountains which are formed by sink also. So there are certain places or mountains, as I said, high. If you go up high, its temperature is quite lower. So we have frozen water there. That is glaciers. And these are the streams. Because of the extreme minus temperature, these glaciers, these streams are frozen. Ice you can call barf. So these barf dharaएं or ice streams are glaciers. These are glaciers. Okay. So it's just like a river only, but because of the temperature, it is not moving. But it will move as soon as the temperature goes up. So there are mountains inside the sea also. Mount Everest is above the sea level. But if you take the mean sea level of the water, there are mountains inside the sea also. You remember Titanic ship, and it was the biggest and humongous kind of vehicle, and it went an accident. It met with an accident because of these ice glaciers or the glaciers or the part of the mountain peak. So there are places where the climates are very harsh. Can you imagine you would like to live here? I don't think so. It's very cold. What are you going to eat? How are you going to study? How are you going to go there and come back? And how are you going to live in this such a cold weather? Okay. You can ask anyone who is in Kashmir, who is in say Mussoorie, what hardships, or in Pahad area, what hardships they feel. The slope is quite steep. How to go there? You cannot also grow any crop here. So there are you can just list them. There are number of problems here. That is why people live in the less numbers. And as I said, this is the pahad or mountain. We call them as mountain range. Mauna Kea, Hawaii, is in the Pacific Ocean, is the undersea mountain. It is higher than Mount Everest, being 10,205 meters high. Okay, remember this, Mauna Kea. So we have these mountain ranges. They are parallel ranges also, and they are almost equal height. They are almost equal height. Like we have Andes in South America. It starts from the upper part and it goes down till the end of South America. So we have two mountain ranges like Himalayas. Himalaya is in Asia. Alps, Himalayas is in Asia. Alps is in Europe, and the Andes is in South America. Andes is in South America. So let me show you all this so that you keep these in mind. So this is South America. On the left hand side, if you see, this is the mountain range, right from the start to end. It's the longest mountain range. Alps here in Europe. In Europe we have Alps, and here Himalayan ranges, right from Kashmir point till the northern eastern states of India. This Himalayan range, and we have Bhutan and Nepal also in these ranges only. So these are all in lines, and there are how many types of mountains? Because they also have type. There are three types of mountains. The mountain first is fold mountain, second is block mountain, third is volcanic mountains. Right? Fold mountains, block mountains, and the volcanic mountain. So what is block mountain? We'll see just now. And the Himalayan mountains and the Alps. I told you. Now these are fold mountains, but these are young. Young means they are created. They just not 1 or 2 years or 10 years. It's thousands of years. But if you compare the history of universe, then they are still young, and they have a very rugged relief and high conical peaks. Rugged relief and high conical peak. This means the relief is not plain, it is rugged. It is rugged, not plain. And the peak is very sharp. Very sharp. Himalayan ranges, and the second one, which is the Alps. So these Himalayan and Alps, these are quite younger. They have rugged relief, that is, relief is not straight, it has some breaks in it, and the peaks are very conical. If you come to Aravalli range, it's this is the place which I can point. These are the Aravalli range in India. These are very, very old mountain, very old mountain, and because of the erosion process, these are considerably worn out. Means they were very high. Because of the erosion over thousands of years, it has come down. If you see here, Appalachian in North America and the Ural mountain in Russia. Let me show you. This is Appalachian in North America, and then we have here Ural mountains, and in between Russia, Asia and Europe, and they have rounded features, and the elevation or height or relief is not that high. They are also old fold mountains. As I said, two plates inside the earth crust, when they combine or when they come together, there will be a fold mountains. And there are others. There are two which are very high or sharp. Others are quite rounded, and they don't have that peak. It's like this. You don't get peak here. Peakness, there is no summit you can call. And there are old fold mountains. The second is block mountains. So what is the block mountain? So this is the block mountain. How does this form? There is a very big vast area, and big area it broke and it went down vertically. I'll show you how it happened. How does it happen? So the part which has gone down, which has broken, that is graben, and the part which remain like that, these are called horst, and this horst are only the mountains we are talking about. These are block mountains. The upper part which remained like that horse, the part which has gone down is a graben. Right? So we have two valleys I am going to show you, Rhine and Vosges. Rhine Valley and Vosges Mountain in Europe are the example of these block mountains. I'll show you both of them, but before that, let me explain you. So this is a plain surface or somewhat undulated surface, and over the years, because there are so many processes going on inside the earth, outside the earth, so this part broke and it went inside because it got the place to go inside. These places, this part, now it went down and it has settled down here. So so now the portion has become like this. The portion has become like this. So this is the mountain. These are the mountains, and these are the valleys, mountain valleys. So let me show you the Rhine Valley in Europe and the Vosges Mountain in Europe. These are block mountains. So this is the Rhine Valley. You can clearly see the mountains and the valleys. So this portion in between has gone down, and this Vosges in Europe is also of that kind. Vosges in Europe. So these are the mountains. These are block mountains. This comes under the category of block mountains. And volcanic mountains are formed due to volcanic activity. Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa and Mount Fujiyama, these are mountains formed by the activity of lava. So this is the Japan Fujiyama. These are what happens, the lava has to come out. The magma has to come out. Lava is magma. So when it comes out, it presses the ground to come out. It forces the ground. So it forces the ground, the zameen or the land goes like this. And when it comes out, this creates a mountain. So this is Kilimanjaro. Kilimanjaro is at Tanzania, the upper part of Tanzania. I'll try to give you the location right now. So this is Japan, Fujiyama, and then Africa, Tanzania, just below Kenya. That is the position of Mount Kilimanjaro. And these two are formed by the volcanic activity. Now the mountains are quite useful. The mountains, because what happens? Ganga, Jamuna all comes from mountains. So these mountains are actually the storehouses, our storehouses for water. From the pahad, from the mountain only, various rivers comes to different plain parts. And most of these rivers are coming from the glaciers, which are actually on the mountain. And this water we can use for various activity. We can use it for drinking, we can use for making food, we can use it for washing clothing, means washing of clothes, utensils, and taking bath. And along with this, for if you take the individual use, drinking is there, washing utensils, these are individual use. But when we talk about a bigger purview, we are using it for irrigation. Sinchai, we use it for irrigation, sinchai, and also to generate the hydroelectricity. So this is very important. Mountain is very important and water is very important. So the river valleys and terraces are ideal situation where you can grow crops, cultivate the crops. And mountains have all the variety of plant and animal, that is flora and fauna. This is the river, and the place which is near this river is quite fertile. So mostly you see people tend to live here because the water is also here and the underground level water is also high. The underground water which is required for the plant to grow, this is also high. So the forest is providing us a lot of things. If you see fuel, fodder, shelter, there are different products along with the flora and fauna. So I was just trying to tell you what is the position of Kilimanjaro. This is the position. This is Tanzania, and the border, you can see just below the border of Kenya, you have this as, here you have Mount Kilimanjaro. And as I said, forest is a rich resource, what we get for our industries, what we get for us, fodder, fuel, shelter, we get gum, resins, what not all. Everything, most of the thing we are getting from the forest. Agriculture produced or forest produced, we get it from here. And one more thing, you work hard, then you go to Mussoorie, you go to Shimla, Mannar, Kashmir. Why do you go there? You go there to see the scenic beauty. You want to see the mountains, you want to see the beauty of the nature. So you want to do paragliding, you want to do hand gliding, river rafting, skiing, and these are not possible on the plain areas. These are only possible in the mountainous area. So this is the place for recreation also, and you want to refresh yourself. This is how mountain helps us in multiple ways. Let me show you what I just told you earlier. This is a volcanic mountain. This is again the Fujiyama, Mount Fujiyama. And this is the magma which is coming from inside or below the earth. And it wants to come out, so it just presses. It presses the land. So it presses and the land goes up. This is how the lava comes. Now we talk about pathar or plateaus. So let me tell you what we have discussed about volcanic, fault block, fold. One more type of mountain is there, dome. It doesn't have that peak. Coming to plateaus, plateau is an elevated land. See, if you are sitting here, I am sitting here, and we have a table in between. So this table, remember this table, how does it look? So this is a table. So plateaus are exactly like a table. It's like a flat portion which is elevated on the ground, and that is how the plateaus are formed, pathar. And these are the slopes. If you see here also on the table, the steep is you can say it's very steep. The steep slopes are there like this, not slant. You will not find slant. It's a table kind of thing. It will not be like this. It will be very steep. So this is one thing you have to keep in your mind. It's like tabletop. Plateaus, if you see in the picture also, that is why these are very steep, and it's also water reservoir. That is why we have a lot of waterfalls here, jharna. Lot of jharna here. On the right hand side, I showed you some plateaus of the world in the picture. If you see, there are so many plateaus I've shown you. Now there are like mountains. Plateaus are also old and young. Deccan Plateau of India is the oldest plateau. Deccan ka pathar, Deccan Plateau is the oldest plateau. The East African Plateau, see in the right also on the picture. East African Plateau in Kenya, Tanzania and Uganda, and the Western Plateau of Australia. These are also some examples of plateaus. The Tibet Plateau is the highest plateau in the world. And what is the height? It ranges from 4,000 to 6,000 meters from the mean sea level. 4,000 to 6,000 from the mean sea level. So let me just show you some of the plateaus which we have in India. So I'll come to this about the northern plains. Here we have Chota Nagpur Plateau. This Deccan Plateau we are talking about. Deccan Plateau we talk about. In between we have the Bundelkhand Plateau, the Malwa Plateau, and different plateau, Karnataka Plateau, Telangana Plateau, and then the Karanya Plateau, Shillong Plateau. So as I was telling, we have 4,000 to 6,000. The highest plateau on this globe is Tibetan Plateau. And because of this Tibetan Plateau, because it becomes hot, and that is why we get monsoon, because of the pressure difference. So I was telling about the mining areas, because these plateaus are rich in minerals. So most of the mining is done in these region only. African plateau is famous for gold and diamond. Congo, South Africa, all these have gold and diamond mines. And if you talk about India, iron, coal, manganese, they are found in the Chota Nagpur plateau. Chota Nagpur, this area, Chota Nagpur plateau. And you have Odisha here, we have Bihar side and this Chhattisgarh side. All this is the basic area where we get most of the minerals here. And here we have a lot of, in plateaus areas, we have a lot of waterfalls. Waterfalls because we have river there and it comes down from the great height. If you go to Chota Nagpur plateau, we have Hundru Falls. Hundru Falls. On the river we have Swarna Rekha. Subharna Rekha or Swarna Rekha. We have Hundru Falls in the Chota Nagpur plateau. So there is a steep, it falls steeply. Then we have Karnataka, Jog Falls. In Karnataka, we have Jog Falls. So two things, Hundru Falls, Chota Nagpur, Jog Falls, Karnataka. Remember like this. And then we have, these are the waterfalls. You will find these waterfalls everywhere. The lava plateau, the plateaus found by the lava, these are rich in black soil. And black soil is the most fertile soil and is the best for cultivation. And the important thing is, again, these are scenic spots, beautiful spots. Tourists go there. Now we talked about the mountains, we talked about these tabletops, but what about these plain areas? There are plain areas also. So these plain areas, if you see for a stretch, very long area, thousands of kilometers, if you have plain areas, these are, if you see here, this is a plain area. So this is called as plains. The height will not be more than 200 meters. The places where the earth, or you can say, is not more than 200 MSL, mean sea level, they are called as plains. Somewhere you will find some rolling and undulating portion, but mostly the plain area will always be plain. So most of the plains are found by rivers and their tributaries, because when the river is coming, there are tributaries also joining them. The river, they come from these mountains. See, this is the mountain, the river is coming. So what they are going to do, they will erode them. They will take all the soil and the small pebbles and stones, and these are eroded material, and they come to the plain part. At that point the water gets heavy because all the sediments are there in water, speed gets less, so all these sediments are lowered down. This is called silt, and this silt is distributed on the left and right part of the banks of the river, and these silt or the soil is very, very fertile in the plain wherever there is river. Also, you can make roads here easily, you can make industry, you can make your house, and the climate is also suitable. Okay, so generally you see a dense population. The Gangetic Plain, this orange color, this is all the Gangetic Plain, and this is the northern plain. All this is the northern plain, Gangetic Plain and the Brahmaputra Plain. We have dense population here. The Uttar Pradesh population is more than 21 crores. Why? Because this is a fertile land, this is a plain land. People can live here easily without any hardships. People can live, study, get their health services easily. These are the places. Industries they can have their livelihood. And because we have fertile soil, you can also, cultivation is possible. Crop can be this. All these areas are the most crop producing areas. Okay. Now, when we talk about landforms and people, well, let us talk about mountains first. The mountain areas, the condition of mountain is not suited for human beings to live there. There are certain mountains like Kashmir and Ladakh, people live there. But living there, eating, working, if you have any health problem, what are you going to do? If you come to plain area, there is aram. Means you can make house, as I said earlier. You can make different things you can do. You can live your life happily, go here and there. So there are natural calamities also, like earthquake, volcanic eruption, storms, floods. They also cause destruction. Like you have Kosi River. It's a curse of Bihar. Brahmaputra, curse of Assam. China, Yangtze Nadi, the river. It's curse of China. So every time it floods. So people die. People get displaced. So we have to take care of all these landforms. This is a river, we have just polluted it. We are putting plastics, all the industrial waste we are putting here. So these landforms which are there for sustainable development, we want this to be intact. We want to keep them how they are. We don't make house where the place where you have good land, fertile land. Why would you like to make land? From here you will get roti. From here you are going to get bread from here. Don't make land. Don't make a house on a land which is fertile. So these are all the places which can be done in the hilly areas or the plain areas. People live here. There are different recreational activities can be done. And people, most of the people like British, they wanted to always live in the high altitude areas. That is why we have Mussoorie. That is why we have Shimla, Mount Abu like this. So this is all about this chapter. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself.